Today we are going to discuss about another important feature of the environmental impact assessment, that is air quality analysis. So we have to understand before going for the air quality analysis, in that what is the constitution of the air and what are the components which are present in the our breathing air, and especially nowadays we are facing the problem of air pollutants. So what are air pollutants? How they are being added to the atmosphere? So air pollutants are added in the atmosphere from variety of sources. We all know that change the entire composition of the atmosphere and that affect the biotic environment. So the concentration of air pollutants that is depending not only on the quantities that are emitted from the air pollution sources, but also on the ability of the atmosphere to either absorb or disperse these emissions. So there is an automatic mechanism for the atmosphere also. So the air pollution concentration of the pollutants especially, they may vary spatially as well as temporally, that can cause the air pollution pattern to change with different locations and time due to the changes in the meteorological as well as topographical conditions. So that means there are many aspects which the air pollutants will be behaved. So the sources of air pollutants are mainly from the vehicle we all are experiencing now, and another important source is industries and domestic source and also the natural sources. So because of the presence of high amount of air pollutants in the ambient air, the health of the population and the property is getting adversely affected. In order to arrest, in order to stop all the deterioration in the air quality, Government of India has enacted AIR, that is a Prevention and Control of Pollution Act in 1981. So the responsibility that has been further emphasized under Environmental Protection Act 1986. So it is necessary to assess the present and anticipated air pollution through continuous air quality survey or the monitoring programs. Therefore, Central Pollution Control Board had already started National Ambient Air Quality Monitoring, that is a NAAQM network during 1984 to 85 at national level. So the program was later renamed as National Air Quality Monitoring Program. So air pollution that continues to be one of the serious environmental issues across the globe due to its link to human health. Ecological toxicity, meteorological changes, precipitation, suppression and climate change. So epidemiological investigations that are carried out worldwide since 1990, that had been clear-cut indication has been provided, that is the association between air pollution and the occurrence of the acute respiratory disorders, lung cancer, chronic respiratory and cardiovascular diseases. So recent research also shows that a significant linkage between air pollution and diabetes globally. So according to the World Health Organization data, more than 90% of the global population is breathing in high levels of pollutants that can cause 7 million deaths annually. Just you have to imagine the severity of air pollutants. So it is also observed that every corner of the globe is dealing with air pollution, and the problem is far also worsen in poorer countries. 90% of deaths that are linked to air pollution, that is occur in low or middle income countries like Asia and Africa. So according to the data, 14 Indian cities rank among the list of top 20 global cities that have reached alarming heights of air pollution in terms of PM 2.5 concentrations. Another research study indicates that in Health Effect Institution in USA, they have published the data that estimates that exposure to household air pollution that also has a substantial impact on health, and it is ranked 8th in the risk factors for early death with 2.6 million attributable deaths. So both individually and collectively, if we can see that ambient air pollution and household air pollution impose a substantial burden on the public health. So among these air pollutants, the particulate matter, that is a PM less than 10 microns and 2.5 microns, that is in the normally we can measure it is in the aerodynamic size, that is known as PM10 and PM2.5. So these two are serious due to their role in the multiple health disorders. In addition to that, evidences are there from the climate change studies that suggest that black carbon content of PM that absorbs sunlight and that also contributes to global warming. So particulate matter in the atmosphere are subjected to chemical reactions. There are so many chemicals which are present in the atmosphere. Atmospheric reactions will take place that resulted in secondary chemical components. They are transported to long distance and are eventually cleared by deposition process, causing the impact at global and local scales. If you will see the particulate matter by virtue of its complex mixture of different chemical components that has been characterized or categorized by the environmental impact of it, but it still remains a challenging task. Long residence time of lower size fraction PM in the atmosphere and their long range transport under favorable meteorological conditions is another factor in assessing the environmental and ecological impacts. Among the air pollutants, suspended particulate matter, that is normally we can refer as SPM, to the solid or liquid particles, which are the combination of both, that remains suspended in the atmosphere. That means they are present. So they are further classified into dust, smoke, fumes, or otherwise mist, fog. We can also consider as a haze. So these things are the particulate matter examples. So the particulate matter that is 10 μm or less in diameter is known as the particulate matter 10, or the respirable suspended particulate matter, that is RSPM. So PM10 is normally subdivided again into fine fraction of particles 2.5 μm, that is a PM 2.5, or coarse fraction of particles greater than 2.5 μm. So the fraction with aerodynamic diameters, that is approximately below 0.15 μm, is termed as the ultrafine particles. So particulate matter is again categorized into two groups. That is, the first one is the primary, that is a discharge directly into the atmosphere, and the secondary particulate matter that is formed in the atmosphere because of the physical and chemical transformations. So the principal gases which are present in the secondary particulate matter formation are sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and VOCs, that is volatile organic carbons, and ammonia. And primary particles occur both in fine as well as coarse fractions, they will exist. But secondary particles, which are for example nitrates and sulfates, that mainly occur in the fine fraction. So either natural or anthropogenic sources are the main cause of primary and secondary particulate matter. So onset of the industrialization and urbanization, airborne SPM has been a major problem due to its adverse effects like visibility reduction and soiling of buildings and impact on human health. But the serious nature of the issue was not realized till a few decades ago. Once realized into the atmosphere, the particulate matter of smaller sizes has longer residence time in the atmosphere. So the elimination of these particles happens by both wet and dry deposition mechanisms. In wet deposition, that is the incorporation of aerosols that occur within the cloud or below cloud, and its efficiency is depending on the particle size and hygroscopicity of the aerosols. The type of cloud and precipitation intensity, that is also expected to have a major influence. Rain also affects about 90% removal process of these pollutants than dry deposition mechanisms like gravity settlement or the impaction and the dispersion. So the dry deposition velocities are also greatly influenced by the local meteorological conditions. So Air Prevention and Control of the Pollution Act 1981, Government of India enacted the Air Prevention and Control Act 1981 to arrest the deterioration in the air quality. So the act prescribes mainly the various functions for the Central Pollution Control Board at the apex level and State Pollution Control Board at the state level. So the main functions of the Central Pollution Control Board is to advise the central government on any matter that concerning the improvement of the quality of the air and also the prevention, control and abatement of air pollution. And also it plans and caused to be executed a nationwide program for the prevention, control and abatement of air pollution. It will also provide technical assistance, of course, and guidance to the State Pollution Control Board, and also carry out a sponsor investigations and research related programs, prevention, control and abatement of the air pollution. It will also collect, compile and publish technical and statistical data which is related to the air pollution. They also lay down some standards for the quality of air and emission quantities. The main function of the State Pollution Control Board is to plan a comprehensive program for the prevention, control and abatement of air pollution and to secure the execution from there. So just like a Central Pollution Control Board, it also advises the state government on any matter concerning prevention, controlling, abatement pollution, and also collect. It will disseminate the information which is related to the air pollution, and it also collaborate with the Central Pollution Control Board for the programs related to prevention and control, abatement of air pollution, and to inspect air pollution control areas and access the quality of air, and to take the steps for the prevention, control and also finally to reduction of the air pollution. So there is a national ambient air quality standards are there for the nationwide. The main objectives of these standards are prerequisite for the developing program for effective management of air quality and also to reduce the damaging effects of air pollution. So the main objectives of these standards are to indicate the levels of air quality which are necessary with an adequate margin of safety to protect the general public, vegetation and the property. It will also provide in establishing priorities for abatement and control of pollution levels. It will provide a uniform methods, measurement levels for assessing air quality at nation level. It will indicate the need and extent of monitoring programs. So the Central Pollution Control Board had adopted first ambient air quality standards in November 1982 itself as per section 16(2) of the Air Control of Pollution Act. So the air quality standards have been revised by the Central Pollution Control Board in 1994 and were notified in Gazette also. So in that there are so many revised ambient air quality standards are depicted. So these standards are based on the land use and other factors of the area. So the guidelines for declaring sensitive areas as recommended by the peer group or core group of Central Pollution Control Board are sensitive areas, that is 10 kilometers all around the periphery of health resorts, that is notified by the SPCB, that is in consultation with the Department of Public Health of the concerned state. If 10 kilometers all around the periphery of the biosphere reserves and sanctuaries and national parks, and also notified by the Ministry of Environment and Forest are the concerned states. And other criteria is 5 kilometers all around the periphery of archaeological monument declared to be of a national importance, or otherwise it is notified by the Archaeological Survey of India. So with consultation with the State Pollution Control Board. And some areas where delicate or sensitive to air pollution, that is the crops are important to the agriculture or horticulture of that area are grown. So that is also should be notified by the in consultation with the Department of Agricultural or Horticultural Concerns. And if 5 kilometers around the periphery of centers of tourism and pilgrimage centers due to their religious, historical, scientific and other attractions, they also have to be notified by the Department of Tourism of concerned state with the State Pollution Control Boards. So now we will look into the gaseous pollutants in the pollution. So many pollutants that occur in gaseous states, that means they are existing in the gas form. So these pollutants are found especially in the normal pressure and temperature. That means a gas in an atmosphere that can be classified as a pollutant only when the concentrations, when it causes to the human health impact as well as the ecological impact. That means how much concentration is required to provide an adverse health impacts on human beings. So many gaseous pollutants behave like air pollutants and also not settle down easily, like some organic and inorganic gaseous pollutants. For example, if you will see the inorganic gaseous pollutants, so they are the oxides of sulfur, especially sulfur dioxide, or oxides of nitrogen. Normally we can call them as SOx and NOx, and hydrogen sulfide, chlorine, ammonia, or hydrogen chloride, hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen cyanide, and oxides of phosphorus, and mercaptans, bromine, and these are comes under the inorganic gaseous pollutants. If we will consider the organic gaseous pollutants, they may be the hydrocarbons like methane, ethane, or ethylene, methylene, and benzene, and toluene, and other compounds like acetone, formaldehyde. There are alcohols, acetone vapors, and methyl isocyanate from the industries, organic acids, and chlorinated hydrocarbons from the effluents. And so these are the considered under the organic gaseous pollutants. So the main reason in India for these gaseous pollutants are poor quality of the fuel from the vehicle. That means fuel of poor quality like coal, diesel, petrol, and fuel oil is used in India, so we have to think about it. So during the past few years, there are various measures have been taken to improve the quality of fuel, like reduction of sulfur which is present in diesel, or otherwise unleaded petrol, like that. And sometimes some old process technology is also there. So that means in many industries, especially in small scale industries, they are resulting in high emissions of air pollutants. That means wrong siting of industries, that is especially close to residential areas, that results of course people getting affected due to the air pollution. So no pollution preventive step in early stage of industrialization has been taken up. So that is why that is resulted in high levels of air pollutants in many areas. And also we can also consider poor vehicle design. So that means especially a two-stroke two-wheeler result in the high emission of air pollutants. And uncontrolled growth of vehicle population. We are seeing nowadays, we are experiencing the population of vehicles is high. And uncontrolled growth of vehicle population in all major cities, towns, that has been resulted in high levels of air pollution. And also the small as well as medium scale industry. So no pollution control measures in the medium scale industries that resulted in high levels of pollution. And also the poor compliance or no compliance of standards for the small or medium scale industries, and that also results in the air pollution. So there is a vehicular pollution problem in India, because in our country vehicles are one of the major sources of air pollution in major cities. Due to vehicles, it can be attributed like high vehicle density in Indian urban centers that result in air pollution, build up near the roadways and at the traffic intersections, and older vehicles are also predominant in vehicle vintage. So these are also grossly polluting through the cities, especially in Delhi, and also vehicles have been phased out, and inadequate inspection and maintenance facilities, that also results in high emission of the air pollutants from vehicles, and that can be reduced by proper and regular inspection and maintenance of the vehicles. So there are large number of two-stroke two-wheelers in most of the cities, and these two-wheelers are significant contributors of the air pollution. An important factor also here I would like to mention is adulteration in the fuel, that is the fuel products, which results in the high emission of the from the vehicles. And improper traffic management system, that road conditions also results in buildup of the air pollutants near the roadways, and also the idling of the vehicles, and absence of effective mass rapid transport system and intra-city railway networks have resulted in people using their own vehicles for commuting to workplace. So this has resulted in uncontrolled growth of vehicles, and we can say that there are so many high population exodus we have seen in this pandemic to the urban centers, that also resulted in increase in the number of vehicles, which resulting in high levels of vehicular air pollution. So now we will see that how the man-made sources or the anthropogenic sources that contribute the respirable suspended particulate matter and fine particulate matter. So the anthropogenic activities like emissions from the coal-based power stations and oil-fired furnaces or the boilers, or the emission from stone crushers, or we can say that hot mixing of plants, lime kilns, foundries, and hospital waste incinerators, emission from the stationary DGs, that is portable DG sets, and emission from diesel vehicles, bus and trucks, emission from the 2T oil used in those who are 2T vehicles, and resuspension of road dust, and burning of biomass tire tube, and emissions from the waste oil refining. So all these behaviors of the air pollutants which shows from the vehicles are getting piled up. So the air pollutants, they are short term as well as seasonal, and sometimes it is a long term variations are also there. So the atmospheric conditions that determine the fate of the air pollutants after they release into the atmosphere. So the main transport, wind velocity, turbulence, and mass diffusion, which are more important and dominant mechanisms in the air pollutant dispersal. And meteorological factors also plays an important role in the study of the air pollution. The wind speed and direction plays a major role in dispersion of air pollutants. So the wind direction is a measurement of the direction, we all know that. That is how the wind is blowing and measured in points of compass like north, south, east, west, or otherwise in azimuth degrees. And wind direction has been an important role in disturbing as well as dispersing pollutants from stationary and mobile sources, that is horizontally long downward wind areas. So these things, so the effect of wind speed on air pollution is also twofold. So it determines the travel time from a source to a given receptor, while on the other causes dilution of the pollutants in the downward direction. So the stronger the wind, the greater will be the dissipation and dilution of the pollutants emitted. So a knowledge of frequency distribution of wind direction as well as wind speed is highly required for accurate estimation of the dispersion of pollutants in the atmosphere. So the short term air variations we have seen, and also like the dilution variations during the daytime, solar heating, that is causing maximum turbulence and strongest vertical motions. So this also causes the maximum amount of momentum that has been exchanged between the various levels. On clear nights with light winds, heat is radiated from the earth's surface, resulting in cooling of the ground and also air adjusting to the adjusting mechanism. So this resulting in extreme stability of the atmosphere near the earth's surface. So under these conditions also turbulence is at the minimum. So there are methods for the monitoring and assessment of particulate matter. That is a gravimetric method, that is a high volume and low volume air samplers are used to sample air particulate and gaseous pollutants, and it captures more than 1500 cubic meters of air for 24 hours period. And also for the low volume samplers can be used and pre-weighed filter paper traps that particulate matter as the air passes through the instrument. After sampling, the filter is reweighed and the difference in filter weight is collected in particulate matter, and later the particulate matter retained on the filter is analyzed to determine the concentration of different pollutants like metals and other organic pollutants like aromatic hydrocarbons, polychlorinated biphenyls. So high volume air samplers manufactured by the Envirotech in New Delhi is also mainly used for air quality impact assessment. So these are the some of the factors that can be understood for the air analysis. So learners, I would like to conclude over here that these are the some of the factors how the pollutants will enter into the air, and then how long it will stay in the air pollution that can cause the adverse human health, and what are the parameters to measure the air quality analysis. I think you must have benefited with this one. In the next class we will come up with some more details of the air quality analysis. Thank you.